What's going on, guys? Aaron from Top Tier Gaming here, and today I'm going to be doing sort of like a helpful type video with like raw thoughts, not very edited, on a big topic in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's not like a new topic or anything, but it's something I felt like I wanted to talk about and give my thoughts on, and maybe it can help some of you guys improve your Yu-Gi-Oh! Play out there. I don't normally do like advice or tip videos, so if this is something you enjoy or maybe want to see more of in the future, leave down in a comment below what topics you might like to see. But yeah, before I get into the topic of this video, links to our Discord down below. It's been doing really well lately, a lot of people joining, and we just hang out there and have a good time. Future plans to make it even better than what it is right now. Hopefully that can come to fruition in the near future, but yeah, links to our Discord down below if you'd like to join. Without further ado, let's get into the topic, which is the 5th win condition in Yu-Gi-Oh! So you have your 4 very standard win conditions that have existed for a long time. You have battle damage, which is the main go-to. It's not really an alternate win condition, it's sort of the main one. You have effect damage with cards like, Secret Barrel, Poison of the Old Man, the classic. You have deck out, this has existed less often than other win conditions, like this existed with, Morphing Jar, OTK, Empty Jar as it was called. And then you have Exodia, which is, a lot of people's fan favorite, but one that also doesn't see much play. But there's a 5th win condition in Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot of you already know this, and it's existed for quite some time now. However, if you're not big into the competitive tournament scene in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you might be unaware, but the 5th win condition in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is time. So, again, brief explanation for people who don't maybe go to tournaments often or don't go to locals and just play casually. Essentially, in Yu-Gi-Oh!, you get 40 minutes to play around, and at the end of the 40 minutes, whoever has higher life points in that game, at the end of that phase is declared the winner. So, a lot of people absolutely despise time, because in the old days, we got the turns, like we got 5 turns, and then that decided who won the match. Now, I hear people complain about it all the time, and me personally as well, I don't like the time rules. They sometimes lead the victor to be maybe undeserved, but only seen in the eyes of like turns. So like people think the wins are undeserved because back in turns maybe they would have won the match. And yeah, that perspective is a pretty valid one because maybe you did have like the chance to win there. But time, in my opinion, is here to stay for the foreseeable future, and that's because the game is so different than how it used to be. If we still had 5 turns to decide the match, 5 turns can actually last another 30 minutes in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Like if you have a combo deck like Dragon Link or any longer combo deck, they can take 10 minutes for 1 turn, and time is there because the tournament process has to keep going. Like we have to get to the end of the day, so our tournaments like regionals and YCSs, even though those aren't up and running right now, they could go on to midnight in the past. I remember starting a tournament at like 9 a.m. back in 2011, and our tournament didn't end until midnight, and it was only a 9-round event, and that could happen back then, which was awful to say the least. But yeah, time's here to stay, and while people will still complain about it, maybe you don't hate it, but you probably heard people be like, man, I hate the time rules because they just kind of stink. But it's something you need to prepare for, and I think Konami is actually moving in a direction where they're giving decks win conditions in time. You take a look at like Live Twin Sunny Snitch, right, where for some reason it has a life point gain and burn damage effect on it. You take a look at the Battle Wasp Pin Needle guy who can special summon and inflict 200. These little tiny effects that can inflict a little bit of damage and help you win in time. And yeah, like it's important to either have these in your deck, and if you don't have them, know if your opponent has them in their strategy, and be able to counter them if they come up. Like I was playing Earth Machine for a long time, and that deck takes forever to play. You search your deck like 20 times, your combo takes a while, it's a grind deck, so I'd often go into time, and sometimes I could just win with Gustav Max. But if you know they have that option in their deck, you can save like Effect Veiler for that, instead of trying to hit Dozer. That's just one way to sort of play around time. But you need to play time to your advantage. And I'm not saying, I don't want this misconstrued, I'm not saying slow play for time. Play exactly your normal pace, or maybe even a little faster is what I'm trying to get at. So I've seen people in time, or like by in time I mean 5 minutes or less on the clock, because that's like in game 3 when you have 5 minutes or less, that's when it's go time. I've seen them take their entire standard combo, like say they're playing Dragon Link, there's 5 minutes left on the clock, and they're just going to go standard combo, which can take upwards of like 5 to 6 minutes. That's not how you're going to win the game. If you're going for a draw, that is definitely the best option. But if you don't have a way to burn, you kind of have to finish your turn faster than that. So maybe just going for spheres tidying and not full combo, just to make sure your opponent only gets like a couple minutes to play. Maybe you can stop their turn and it passes back to you. That's the best play for time. And I've just seen so many people lose because they don't want to go for maybe the less strong board, but one that can help them win in time. And I'm not saying it's always the best option. Sometimes going for the draw might be the best outcome there. But yeah, so I'm not saying slow play. In fact, in some situations I'm saying play faster. I want to get that very clear, because the people who use time to their advantage by slow playing or thinking a lot longer than they should, yeah, those people, there's nothing wrong with it inherently. I don't want to go down a can of worms, but you should definitely have good sportsmanship. Like, if you're gonna lose that game, then you lose that game gracefully. Don't stall for 30 seconds thinking at end phase and just, oh, time's called, sorry, you lost. Like, that's really terrible sportsmanship, and it's definitely not how Yu-Gi-Oh! Should resolve its matches. But yeah, so either running like cards for this or playing in certain ways to help you win in time is the main thing I wanted to sort of bring to light in this discussion, because especially when I was playing Earth Machine, it was a very big deal to like make sure that I could combo fast enough to get to game 3, and if game 3 had 3 minutes left in the round, then combo for Gustav Max and pass with like 20 seconds left on the clock, and there's probably not a chance that your opponent can kill you in main phase. So yeah, that's one way to do it. And then another thing in time that's very important is game 3 deciding who goes first. Like, say you win game 1, and that means you get no choice to who goes first or second. Your opponent chooses who goes first or second. Game 2, say they take first. Game 3, if there's 5 minutes on the clock and you're playing a combo deck, maybe don't say I'll take first, even though it's like the very standard. Like, even if your deck needs to go first to win, if you have a 6-minute combo that doesn't burn, you're not going to win. You're going to get a draw. So maybe it's best to say go second and just try to inflict any bit of damage you can and the limited time remaining going second to get you the win. And that's like a super big deal. And then also the side deck is super important for time as well. I guess I'm rapid firing just thoughts going on in my head, like not giving a lot of time to, sort of process. But yeah, so to summarize what we've talked about so far, it's like going first or second. Choosing after game 3 is really important. Knowing time win conditions if they exist in your opponent's deck or if you have one, and then playing appropriately for time. And the fourth one I want to talk about is side decking and making side deck choices. If you're playing a very go first deck that wants to set trap cards and you have to take first going into game 3 with like 5 minutes left on the clock, don't maybe side in cards like Solemn Judgment, because they're almost a surefire way to lose depending on the trap deck you're playing. And that's something very careful, like you have to be careful about, is cards like Cosmic Cyclone, Solemn Strike, Solemn Warning, which doesn't see much play, but I thought I'd mention it, Solemn Judgment. These things take a hefty amount of life points to activate. Cosmic Cyclone isn't hefty, but when it can lose you the game because you paid 1,000 life points, maybe don't keep it in. Like, I was playing a game 3 against Sky Striker the other day, and there is actually like 3 or 4 minutes left on the clock, and he just goes ahead and activates Upstart Goblin. And I'm sitting there like, dude, you have a win condition in Kaina. Like, this is another thing going back to how to play your win conditions if you do have one in time. Like, he never should have had Upstart Goblin in his deck game 3 that round. But he did, and he lost because of it, because Sky Striker can win in time pretty easily because of Kaina, depending on the game state, because she can gain life points. I'm not a Sky Striker master, so I mean, I don't know how often it comes up. But yeah, you definitely play to your time win condition. It is a real win condition to be like accepted and used to your advantage. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Seems to be one of the only games I've played competitively that has like this hard negative connotation towards time. Because I've played other competitive games with a time mechanic, like I played Pokemon VGC, and time is more accepted in that game. And of course it has a chess timer, which you also can't have in Yu-Gi-Oh! But that's something for another discussion. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about time and the ways you can play for it, play against it. You know, just a quick discussion video to get some of my raw thoughts out there. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. I don't often do content like this, so if you do want to see more of it, leave a like and leave down in the comments what other topic you'd like me to go over. If you want like guide videos, I can do that too. I want to do like a big guide for rogue strategies entirely, but that's something for the future. Anyways, if you did enjoy this video, like it, subscribe. This has been Aaron from Top Tier Gaming. Bye, YouTube.